Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for March 19th to the 25th of 2023. So our quote for the week says, "You are a sovereign individual moving through life via your own inbuilt navigation system." I chose this one because we need the reminder to think of ourselves this way when we may feel truly oppressed by the system that we're living in at the moment. This Western culture monetary system is tricky. So we have to keep that in mind. At the moment, we still have free will and choice. But your navigation system that's inbuilt, it's built into your system, is unique and customized for you. And that's been coming up a lot lately as we get deeper into our instincts and intuition with the various circles I run. And it's true. We have a navigational system, but we haven't necessarily been trained on how it works. So we have to take that upon ourselves to learn how it works. The first thing to go would be food and pharmaceuticals, which make it impossible to tap into your six senses. So let's think about that this week as we have some very big movements. Pluto's moving into Aquarius. Mars is finally leaving Gemini, moving into Cancer for the first stop in years. Plus, we got big lunar energies happening, y'all. So we're about to flip the rhythm. But first things first, the Soul Contracts class is going on every Sunday in March. And if you sign up later, you can still get the replays. And I highly recommend it because we are going narrow and deep with a variety of different contracts that we come in with. And the ones that we find when we get here or create when we get here, it's a lot. But we are really having a good time in that class. And you all are still welcome to tap in. Our week kicks off on Monday when the sun is at 29 degrees Pisces and Pluto's at 29 degrees Capricorn. This week, they both move. That same day, sun hits Pluto and then goes right into Aries. This last hit from Pluto to the sun before it moves into Aquarius is a huge deal, y'all. Sextile is an opportunity to gain traction. We have been going through a deep transformative process since 2008 that is culminating in our Capricorn departments and preparing to shift to the Aquarius department, which is a big deal by itself. But for this week, we just want to think about equinox and the new moon and how this is a healthy, positive, transformative energy. It gives us access to the energy that can help you change your current circumstance for the better and or clear up an issue that has been challenging you for a while now. It's great for purifying, cleaning, and clearing your personal space, as well as organizing your life in general. You may have to examine the big picture to see where an adjustment for the good of all involved is necessary. If you're not feeling up to working on outer issues, this also gives you the opportunity to do some introspective thinking and deep self-reflection. Superficial once-overs will not do. You must address the root cause for where you find yourself at this time in your life and decide if it is working for you or against you. All right, deep, deep, deep breath. It's spring cleaning, honey, and I went to sleep with this on my mind. I want to reset this whole house. Oh my God, but I would need a team to do it. I can't do it alone. And if I do it alone, it would take a full week, and I don't have a full week to do it. So I'm talking to the angels. We're trying to go through other dimensions to get this done, y'all. That's what we do. When we can't do it in 3D, we jump to 5D and get it done. Because equinox brings in the one of two times a year that we have access to true, literal balance within our bodies, within our minds, within our spirits, within our soul, within our emotions. It's so powerful to tap in. It's almost like charge your battery and recalibrate that balance so that you can have the experience at least twice a year. So spring equinox is the initiation and awakening of life for the new year. It's a turning point and a crossroads. It's time to be more active and physical. Spring cleaning and clearing, like we already said. Resurrection, renewed life and vitality. We're checking in and upping our game in that department for sure. New beginnings, seed planting and initiation. Fiery creativity, fertility, and blossoming energy. So think of how we curl up to stay warm in the winter and then we uncurl and we open ourselves up in the spring. taking deeper breaths, and a serious step in the direction of your goals. Remembering that everything we initiate in the spring needs this quarter to develop. It's the delicate infant stages of new growth and development. So we don't want to rush that. We don't want to talk about too many things until they're stabilized either. That's part of the magic when you're creating something. You want to keep all that energy in the pot, bubbling in the cauldron, getting spicy and flavorful. So each year we have the third of the 8 sacred seasons. We're on number 3 of 8, initiating a renewal of life and light, rebirth and resurrection. Vital energies and resources are now more readily available, or they will be soon. It's time to plant seeds and initiate projects that will show promise by fall equinox, 6 months from now. It is the first rebalancing of the light, coming from predominantly internal, dark, shadow, fallow time, which is winter, and returning to an external, light, fertile time, which is summer. Spring and fall represent balance and increase, equal light and darkness, equal day and night. Sunrise and sunset are always the best times to meditate as the veils between realms are thinner, making communing easier and more productive. Consider the solstices to be initiation integration times, and equinoxes to be times of change, movement, choices, and decisions. Spring initiates new life. Fall assesses the quality of that life and marks its ongoing progress. What takes root? What works and evolves? What actually needs more time, incubation, and more care? And/or what should be released altogether to begin anew? Compost and redirection of energy. Reallocation of resources, right? It's time to be more physically active, to try new things, do some spring cleaning on multiple levels. You can choose what type of renewal you'd like to experience every year. For example, one year you may want to focus on renewing the body, or renewing your sacred space, or renewing your relationships to self and others. You decide, get creative, and dedicate a year to see what you can create when you work with the natural rhythms of time and space that you live in. It's time to initiate a new aspect of self that you recently developed or discovered, to have the courage to live your life, serve your purpose, and stand in the truth of your own journey. Ashe. Welcome to Aries time, y'all. So to celebrate equinox, we're going to have another fire ceremony. Can you believe our last one was only 6 weeks ago? Seems like we just did that yesterday. But here we are at another pivot point, a very important one, spring equinox. So, weather permitting, I'll be near the fire pit, and you can register on the blog and the website for the community event. All are welcome. The very next day, within hours of the equinox, we have an Aries new moon at 0 point. This is also considered the world point, y'all. So the fact that the sun and the moon got there for an initiation, we're going to have 2 new moons in the course of a 30-day period. At 0 and 29, the beginning and the end. The first one is this 0 point, and at the end of the month, we're going to have an Aries new moon solar eclipse. That is our introduction to the Aries Libra eclipses coming in this year. So we're in that overlap between Taurus Scorpio, which was very body and soul, very literal. Lots of our values got shook up in the last 2 years. Now we decide who we are, what we want, and who we want to play with, work with, live with, deal with on a regular basis. That's going to get recalibrated over the next 2 years. But first, I always say, go within first. Work on you first. Get you together and then start considering what you want to do with the rest of the world. And those are the kind of intentions we can set with this first Aries new moon. It also brings in what I call the lunar flip, which happens when we have 2 new moons back to back like this, or it happens when we have 2 full moons back to back like this. It changes the order. So for the last 18 months, we've had the new moon preceding the full moon. So we've had to initiate, walk by faith, get to the full moon, and often find out things we weren't conscious of or things we didn't see along the way. We got to do a little cleanup in preparation for renewal the next month. Now with these 2 new moons, the flip is going to happen so that the full moon precedes the new moon. This is the rhythm I prefer. And so that's why I tell people about the rhythm, so that you can tap into your body and feel into which one is easier for you, which one requires more effort. For me, I like the rhythm of the full moon first because it allows me to see everything clean up, clean, rebalance, recalibrate, and get organized so that on the new moon, I can actually plant those seeds and walk by faith and not worry about it because I know that I planted them on the clean, solid ground. But the other way feels like I plant seeds and I get to the full moon and I have to always make these adjustments and there's more effort. That's all I'm saying. So each of us is unique and different. It will manifest for all of us in a different way. But the kickoff with 2 Aries new moons still speaks to a new individuality, a new path and purpose, a new identity and self-expression. Okay, being born anew individually, socially, and collectively. So this is where we call in that vision for those higher level humans or higher level individuals to come into their power and to be able to stand on their own, to also be self-sufficient. That's what Aries is all about, being independent and completely self-sufficient. So we're back to that sovereignty that keeps coming up over and over. How much can you do for yourself and how much do you actually need other people for? It's time to get super clear on that. So this is an annual initiation of the new you, the new year, and a brand new beginning that is available for those who choose the new, who leave the old and the past behind and bravely step into the unknown. This is an annual opportunity to release imbalances within ourselves and our relationships or environment. Anything that is preventing the Aries new beginning from unfolding naturally. You are in completely new territory now, and the Aries new moon launches us all to the next level. Consider how much has been cleared and released just in the last year alone. This first seed point is vital to the next 6 to 12 months of growth and expansion. And yeah, let's not forget that Jupiter's in Aries for 1 of 12 years. Chiron's in Aries for several years, about 10 years, but it's only once every 50. So we have some rare alignments in Aries that are contributing to this lunation this whole month. It is truly time to close out and release anything no longer essential to your reality or evolution. The message is, do not rush, but neither postpone. This is the week to dedicate yourself to a new identity and purpose and develop it throughout April so that these eclipses will help you activate and ground something tangible for the next 10 to 20 years. Deep breath. See how this is bigger than an annual reset? I mean, it's an annual reset, but in bigger ways, if you have strong Aries, Libra, or Cancer, Capricorn, this is 10 and 20 year cycles getting activated this year and next in your Aries, Libra department, forcing your Cancer, Capricorn departments to grow and change. Remember, initiation integration is in Aries, Libra, you and other people. So as you change, everyone around you has to change or go away. As you recalibrate that balance, then home and work gets altered, right? If you're able to determine your own needs and capacity to contribute first, then the upcoming Libra full moon, April 5th, will illuminate what has to be recalibrated with others in your life to allow that new cycle to begin. This lunation gives us a chance around the same time every year to check in with our internal balance and what will be required of us to truly anchor this emerging identity and new purpose. It may also reveal where more external balance is required for you to maintain relationships or agreements with others or not. Maybe they've run their course. Most likely, some of both will manifest. Each month is building on the previous. In that, with the Pisces Virgo lunation, we got to go within and reset our internal systems and determine how much we could really handle. While the Aries Libra lunation gives us the opportunity to reset the balance between self and other, because next month's Taurus Scorpio lunation, which includes the final eclipse, we have the first eclipse in Aries Libra and the final eclipse in Taurus Scorpio this spring. But that lunation is going to bring in the literal changes we need to go forward clean and in integrity with this new beginning. See how it works? Everything's a response to the last thing, preparation for the next thing. So Aries Libra is a response to Pisces Virgo and preparation for Taurus Scorpio. Do your best to stay alert and present, especially when navigating with others in relationship or community. Aries time is the once a year that it is all about you. Deep breath. That's the 21st, which is Tuesday. Wednesday, we have the monthly money pouring with Yeye Louise Satish. You join her Patreon for $5 or more per month, and you get to join us for the Money Pouring, which is a community event to increase our wealth. And right now, we have a big focus on cultivating generational wealth, breaking these limitations and old habits around money and old thinking around money. So it's bigger than just a little money ritual. Oh, yes, I want money or abundance or anything like that. It's deeper. We're calling in the ancestors, angels, Orisha, the animal spirit guides. We're calling in our invisible team to assist with our flow. And remember, we're always calling in infinite energetic flow, creative flow, and cash flow. So join us on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. And it will be a Zoom. So if you register for Ye's Patreon, then you get the Zoom link automatically sent to you. Same day, on Wednesday the 22nd, Sirius retrograde re-enters Virgo until June 21st. So deep breath. We've been talking about this one because it's going back and forth over Virgo and Libra. And what it's doing is recalibrating the balance around self-care and how you nurture and nourish yourself, resetting your systems in Virgo so that you can go forward and have better interaction, more nourishing, supportive interactions with other people. So this has been a long process. I think her retrograde process is a good 7 to 9 months of it on its own. So it's been living in your Virgo Libra department. So if you know those houses in your chart, it's where you've needed to recalibrate the nourishment and nurturing and protection pieces. According to Asteroid Goddesses by Demetra George and Douglas Block, Sirius describes the ways in which we face the issues of self-worth and self-esteem, relationship to our parents and children, attachment, dependency, loss, separation, rejection, grief, sharing, work, and productivity. It's how we nurture and like to be nurtured. So you might imagine that in Virgo, nurturing takes the form of certain skills, discernment, and self-discipline, and a desire to show others how to be more efficient and effective. Acts of service are the way to nurture at this time and allow yourself to receive those acts of service. Receiving nurturance can be very difficult for some. Being useful and relevant to others is very important with this placement, but up in the sky for the rest of us. So that's for anyone that lives with Sirius and Virgo. The rest of us, it is a time to do a cleanse or some self-care to reset our individual systems. Nurture your physical body and individual systems for living. It's time for an upgrade that is more appropriate to here and now. Self-worth is developed along the way, along with your skill set right now. So try to learn something that can make you more valuable to the team. You're developing a rhythm that takes some practice to master, but Sirius only comes around to Virgo every 4 to 5 years, so this is a pretty big, important reset. Ashe. That's Wednesday. Thursday's our big day. Pluto hits Aquarius until June 10th when it dips back into Capricorn. So this is going to be 2 years of back and forth over these ending, new beginning of Capricorn Aquarius cusp. Ultimately, it will be there in Aquarius until 2044. So deep breath for our fixed areas of life. They are getting an upgrade and a purification transformation from Pluto. And if things are transforming and being initiated in Aquarius, that means they have to be integrated in Leo and things have to change in Taurus Scorpio. So our Taurus Scorpio eclipses have already facilitated great changes in our realities around our basics, food, sex, money, the fundamentals for being a human and functioning on this planet, right? So we've already been dealing with a lot of change there. But this is going to allow some of us to tap into our unique contribution in a new way and transform or transcend our limitations around community. We're going to be able to expand our reach. I love it. It's going to take a year or two to fully enter Aquarius, so this is a process. But here is what we have to look forward to. This is a collective planet that moves in an erratic orb, spending 10 to 35 years in a sign. As of the 1980s, when Pluto was in its home sign of Scorpio, it was at the short end, spending about 10 to 12 years there, revealing the underworld of sex, death, power, money, and resources. Lots of power behind the power during that decade that got exposed. Then in the 1990s, it moved through Sag, revealing all the erosion and toxicity of the Vatican and organized religion went through a complete upheaval. Then Pluto started extending its stay in Sag for 13 years, then extending it again by spending 16 years in Capricorn during 2008 to 2024, where we are right now, where we have witnessed the crumble of institutions, government, healthcare, education, and most social systems that are now having to be reimagined and reborn. In Capricorn, we see the price of giving away our power and inner authority to outer structures or systems. So now, moving into 20 years of Aquarius is shifting the purification and transformative process onto humanity, technology, and the future. This is a mixed blessing. As with all alignments, there is a light and shadow expression. The blessing of Pluto moving through Aquarius is the mass awakening of humanity on some level. The old ways no longer work, and where we have been trapped in survival mode, we now have to consider the future of the next 7 generations. Our choices directly affect them, and power is shifting from the old school, controlling, patriarchy, the few who want to hoard the resources and control the many, to the new school, progressive, future-oriented Aquarius that wants more community, collaboration, and equal distribution of resources to those who need it most. We get super inventive and creative when shifting big cycles like this, okay? This is when we know our genius gets activated. Can you feel it? Jupiter and Saturn kicked off a new 20-year cycle in Aquarius and a 200-year cycle of the air element in our social level, Jupiter and Saturn. Venus and Mars kicked off a new cycle of integration of our sacred feminine and masculine that is more progressive and collaborative. Now, Pluto moves into Aquarius, kicking off its own kind of 250-year cycle. This feels like on-the-ground entrance into the 2500-year Aquarian age. At a minimum, Pluto's ingress will seal the deal of utter transformation and rebirth in our Aquarius departments as individuals. But remember, this is a low and slow kind of cooking that Pluto will do over the next 20 years. As with any healing or transformation, we have to purify first. Then we can heal. Then we can restore. It is a process. Another blessing of Pluto in Aquarius is that we may shift to a higher form of communal living where we share resources and are responsible for our own communities. This progressive energy sees the value and longevity possible when we share the work as well as the rewards. There is value to offering your unique contribution and working together as a team for the greater good. But for the powers that be who want clones and drones instead of critical, creative thinking humans, this is threatening. And nothing worthwhile is ever easy or simple. This is a radical shift to a new way of working together, using technology to serve its true purpose, not run the world, but of freeing us up to be more creative individuals. This is when our innovation goes through the roof, partly because of those breaking the rules and liberating old consciousness, but also partly by that old saying, need is the mother of all invention. We need a new way that is more life-affirming and sustainable. And in order to combat some of the consumption and waste, we are going to have to literally invent new things to help us move forward. The shadow side of Pluto in Aquarius is embodied by those who would enslave us with technology, blurring the lines between human nature and the nature of technology. One operates on organic, evolutionary responsiveness, and the other is programmed and disconnected from the multidimensionality of earthly existence. How do you blend that without annihilating one or the other or both? This is the cold, detached rulers overseeing the minions they feel entitled to control, exploit, and manipulate for personal gain. Pluto in Aquarius over the years coincides with huge battles over slavery and human trafficking, and here we are with this up again. We must be vigilant about preventing another era of global slavery, oppression, and manual labor that allows their technologies to continue sucking Mother Earth of her resources and expanding unabated until they take over. Then we have altered the organic nature of Earth and her creatures which naturally inhabit this planet, humanity being one of those creatures. We, like Mother Earth, are regenerative creatures. However, it takes us some time to go from idea into form, depending on what you are creating. So let's use the purifying power of Pluto to distill our Aquarian dreams back to their original essence, one that is inclusive, sustainable, and good for all life on this planet. Let's lead by example and work together to cultivate thriving communities that work well together and no longer require overlords, bosses, or authority figures to run our lives for us. We will become self-sustaining with the help of some technology and a whole lot of community. One last note, this will be particularly intense for any Aquarius, Leo, or Taurus, Scorpio energies in your chart. So take it easy and pace yourself, as transformation is a journey, not a destination. Deep breath. Whew. All I can say is for those of us with strong Aries, Libra, and Cancer, Capricorn, coming off the hot seat feels good. But those of you in those areas of our own lives that have Aquarius and Leo, Taurus and Scorpio, is up for renewal. That's all. There's no two ways about it. And at the root of our fixed signs is our self-love, self-worth, and self-value, period. So that's going to be the root of the change over the next 20 years. Do we feel worthy of being sovereign individuals? Do we feel capable of learning what we need to learn to sustain life on this planet in a balanced, healthy way? It's a lot. I know. I warned you, this week is deep, y'all. And it's new moon, so it's dark. We're in this germination phase, in the incubation phase, in the behind the scenes phase, dreaming it up. Now we jump to Saturday, March 25th, when Mars enters Cancer until May 20th. That's a normal 2 months. But here we got to go back to go forward, y'all, just because of the retrograde. So I included the last paragraph of the Gemini entry because it's leading us into this Cancer time, and this is its first stop. So normally, I'd say for the next 2 months, explore new ideas or possibilities and experiment without attachment when you can. But Mars is going retrograde in Gemini, extending its stay for 7+ months, which constitutes more of a major mental upgrade. So we are calling in a new cycle of mental clarity, creativity, and consciousness, and letting go of an old one that goes all the way back to 1990-91. So if you're old enough to remember what kind of mentality that you had back then, and just how much you've learned and how much your consciousness has evolved over the last 30+ years, then you can take advantage of this initiation. Keep in mind the shadow of Mars in Gemini is fighting with words or being internally split, divided within, or generally indecisive. So be mindful of that in yourself and others. Okay? Who felt it? Who felt this last 7 to 8 months of leaning on our consciousness to grow and expand and come in from a new perspective? Deep, deep, deep. Okay? So now, after an extended stay in Gemini, now we got March to May, 2 months, we will be cultivating a new base or container for that new cycle of mental clarity, creativity, and consciousness. We've had a major mental upgrade, and for the next 2 months, we're going to explore how we feel about that. Mars is about who you are and what you want, your goals, and how you make your moves to accomplish them. In Cancer, it's all about your feelings. So the energy supports you to move backwards and sideways until you're really ready to go forward. That's okay for the next 2 months. Just feel things out. Does this feel right to me? Is this within my comfort zone? Do I have good boundaries? Is what I'm picking up me or other people? Let's really feel our way through the next 2 months, because our consciousness, like we said, just got a huge download, upgrade, whatever you want to call it. We have to feel out the new foundation, make sure our boundaries are clean and clear, and proceed to make new choices and decisions that better reflect our true identity and purpose. It is time to up your game in the self-care department. After such a long mental journey, we need to reset our bodies and physical rhythms so that we can go forward with those creative ideas and bigger dreams. Delegate what you can and consciously direct your energy toward the current priority, which would be your Cancer house, what's going on there, especially because this is a once in 2 years initiation of managing your personal life in new and different ways. Recalibrate your home and work schedules according to your feeling nature, not your monkey mind or your survival mode. What feels right to you, the individual? When Mars is in Cancer, we are much more motivated by feelings than facts. So devote some time to improving your sacred space, your private little corner of the world, where it is all about you in a good way, in a replenishing way. It's time to create your comfort zone. Set up your space and prepare your energy to be poured into passion and creativity once Mars moves into Leo. Okay? Deep breath. Remember what I said, response to the last thing, preparation for the next thing. So just imagine if you got all new ideas that you want to act on, you need to get your containers together first. Then you make them pretty in Leo. You make them attractive and magnetic. You fill them with your essence and your light. Right now, go inward and do the self-care piece. Recharge your battery, clean your space, set up some order and rhythm that you can keep for 6 months to a year, because this is the beginning of the new year, technically. And if you need some help, whale medicine is our medicine for the month of March. Eagle will be our medicine in April, and we'll be getting together live on Wednesday, April 5th for that. But in the meantime, whale is the best for this kind of work that we have to do this week. And those tools are so supportive, and you will love the replay. So it's only $25 for the month, and you get all the goodies. So reach out when you need to. Happy New Year for those of you who celebrate like I do at this time of year. Recognize that this week is setting the tone for the quarter. You know, I should say this month, because we have the whole lunation of Aries Libra recalibrating things for the quarter. But just keep in mind, it's all bigger than just this week, this month, this year. And to give yourself that time and space to integrate and do what you got to do. So have a fantastic week. This is Kelly Beard of Karmic Tools signing off.